Hey gents, ladies, this is And Now You Joe. And today I'm going to tell you how to go about getting a burner ticket that isn't going to cost you extra flying into the Philippines. It's actually going to save you money. So kind of tag along with me here. I'm going to show you on the computer as I do it. I'm going to turn the screen here. So first of all, you type in cheap flights to Manila from LAX. Doesn't matter where you live in the country. And you can check, from Cleveland, Ohio to Manila, but I usually buy a domestic flight round trip or one way into LA, and then I buy an international flight. So then when I get to this page here, I scroll down to this area right here, and I'm planning on retiring and moving to the Philippines, and I want to be at a party on St. Patty's Day. I live in Arizona, and around this time frame is when most of my friends and family are starting to think about heading back to the northern states. And so I'm planning on hanging out with them on the 17th, and then my birth date is on the 22nd. I'll turn 62, and my goal is to have my toes in the water, and I am. Or March 20th, that goes down to 509. Okay, so let's change our date to to March 20th. I like that better. And let's update that. Okay. I don't see where it's telling me that it's going to be 509. There it is. What it must be is a longer flight. Yeah, so that 509, that's 33 hours. I'm not interested in being on a flight for 33 hours. So the direct flight is 15 hours and 40 minutes for 641. So if I was going to do this is how I would do it. But here's the little trick I learned in the Navy. Let's change this Manila to Singapore. I've never been to Singapore, and I don't plan on going to Singapore this time. So we're going to keep it March 20th, and let's check and see what I can fly into Singapore. Okay, so that is 562. But here's what you got to do. You come over here to connecting airports. And where it says connecting airports and it's clicked all, click that off. Click that off. And then scroll down until you get to Manila. You click Manila. Okay. And now it's going to show us all the flights going to Singapore that have a stopover in Manila. Okay? You look over here, that's Philippine Airlines. 20 hours. That's $588. So check this out. Let's pick that flight. That flight number right there, PR 103, that's a direct flight into Manila. The same airplane, the same flight that you're going to be on if you book straight to Manila. If you book to Singapore, it is how much cheaper? It's $50 cheaper. If you go down to buying it, instead of buying it direct with the Philippine airline, you buy it on Budget Air. It's $546. It's $100 cheaper. $100 cheaper. And now, check this out. You have your burner ticket already installed, because this shows you're leaving the Philippines in an hour and 30 minutes. Now, here's the thing about booking a one-way ticket to Singapore. With the plan that your connecting flight is through Manila, and I'm not pulling this out of the air. I've done it. I've booked a flight to Singapore and got off in Manila, and there was no problem. And when I say no problem, let me clarify that. This was in March of this year, 2022. I did it. I got to the airport and they asked me what was my business in Singapore. And I said, I'm a tourist. And they scrolled through their phones right there at the airport counter and said, Singapore isn't accepting tourists at this point. And I was like, okay, I just shot myself in the foot. Now what? And the lady at the counter said, but you can fly into Manila, you just can't get on that flight from Manila to Singapore. And I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. So another thing that you have to keep in mind, and this might be a deal breaker, is you're moving to the Philippines, right? Or you're going for more than a month, where you don't know when exactly you're gonna come back, if you're gonna come back at all. Is if you do this, you have to only bring a carry-on bag. You cannot check luggage because it'll be checked through to Singapore. Not very workable. And I use Singapore here. Another place where you can buy cheaper tickets and be on that same flight 103 into Manila is into Malaysia. And so I'll check Singapore and I'll check the different places in Malaysia. And depending on if it's that noon or that 12:30 flight out of Los Angeles, or it's the, what is the nighttime flight, 9:35 or something like that, 9:30. Can't remember exactly when the PM flight leaves, but depending on what flight you want to be on, it might be the Singapore or it might be a Malaysia to get into Manila on that direct flight. And your ticket already shows that you're leaving the Philippines, and that is your burner ticket. And now you go.